This is a Fender Stratocaster. And this is a Squier Stratocaster. Today we're going to see if we can make this play better than this. Before we get into that red Strat video, I promised I would launch the giveaway for this guitar in this video. So if you want a chance to win this guitar for free, stick around and I'll tell you just how you can win that. This isn't just any Squier Stratocaster, this is actually my first ever Stratocaster. It's a 2005 Indonesian made Squier Stratocaster, and this was bought brand new, I believe for my sister at the time, and then I borrowed it without ever returning it. It's pretty much standard apart from that black pickguard which I added years later. And it hasn't been played in probably around 5 years. It's been mostly in storage with the odd trip out of the case to take a photograph once or twice. So I think it's time to do it some justice and restore it to its former glory, or better, I suppose. The main issue is the same one all first guitars have, and that is the sky-high action. But stick with me, we're going to do a few other things like dyeing the fretboard and also swapping out those pickups. Strictly speaking, if we were just going to make this play better than a Fender, probably all I would do is stick a set of locking tuners, replace the nut, clean it all up obviously, maybe change the bridge saddles, but definitely adjust them and fix the action, set the truss rod, etc, etc. And that would probably play as good as, if not better than, a Fender. And obviously, like the loose jack and dodgy pots, crackly switches. What we're going to do is a bit of a resto mod. There's a couple of things I want to try out. For now, I want to darken this fretboard. I'm going to do that with a little thing that I've seen quite a lot on TikTok lately. This here, I made this just over a week ago. It's been sitting waiting for this project. I'll roll those clips in a second to show you how I made it. You've probably seen this method 100 times before, but yeah. Get yourself a jam jar or some sort of old jar, some steel wool, some vinegar, and I'm just using distilled malt vinegar. Bought it in the Spar for £1. Stuff your steel wool into the glass jar. Fill it up with vinegar, trying not to spill it all over your mat so that it doesn't smell forever of vinegar. The last thing I do is pierce a hole in the lid just to let any gases out so this doesn't explode on us. And that is it. We'll leave this for a few days, and that's your ebonizing formula. I don't know what it's called. My only fear is that this is going to smell like vinegar. We'll see, so join me in this journey and I'll let you know whether it's a good idea or not. I also wonder, will it negatively affect the fret wire? You know, will it speed up the corrosion on those because of the acid? Again, I don't know. Let's find out. Let's do it and find out. First thing I'm going to do is clean the 18 years of grime off this fretboard. So now we've got rid of all the crusty finger juice, we are going to tape it all up, get it ready for putting the ebonizing formula on. For everyone asking, Big Murph's back to 100%. Aren't you, Murphy? You good? Alright, frets are all taped up. Let's put the solution on, see what happens. It's just a piece of old t-shirt, one of my kids' old t-shirts. Just gonna dip that in. and go ahead and make my fretboard smell like vinegar. Maybe a good idea to test these things on something else, but hey, that's what we do here. Every single time I have sold a guitar body or a Squier, someone has always messaged me and asked, is it a full thickness body? Never quite understood it. If you're one of those people that must know, is it a full thickness body? No, it's not. It's not a full thickness body. So it should be fairly obvious by now what direction this is going in if you've been watching my videos. There's only one way. I did have a pearl somewhere, but I feel like I've done pearl quite a lot recently. Oh, here. And although that is very, very nice. Actually, fuck, that is nice. No, it's nice, but let's stick with the plan. The plan was this. And of course, if you watched last week's video, my Viennese, is that a word? Viennese? My Dimarzio from Vienna. 45 euros, still can't believe that. That worked out £38 in the conversion. £38. Much even are these? I would have expected like double that at least. But yeah, anyway, 45 euros. Really, really cool. Well, that is going to go right in there. Let's do it. Nice and easy. Update on the neck. I don't really see much of a difference. If anything, it just looks grayer to me. It looks drier. Like I've just sapped all the moisture out of it. Who knows? Not that there would have been that much moisture in it, but yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and put another 2-3 coats on. You don't really need to see that, and we'll come back to it after that dries. Okay, so I've only done one more coat, but I've really slapped it on, and now I'm just working it in with my finger rather than the cloth, using the rubber glove obviously. Okay, so we're going to do this competition a little bit different than last time. It's still free to enter. It's still free shipping anywhere in the world. In this box are 2 tins of spray paint. Now those tins of spray paint are for this guitar body. This is the Tom DeLonge guitar body. I know I said in my video I was going to do a graffiti yellow. I've changed my mind. It's not going to be graffiti yellow. It's going to be a different color. Now this is not a standard Tom DeLonge color. It's a completely different color. One that you might not have seen before. All you have to do to win this guitar for free is guess what color these 2 tins of spray paint are. If you guess the exact color of those tins of spray paint and you're the first to do it, I'll pin your comment to this video and you'll have won this guitar shipped straight to you completely for free. If nobody guesses it, we'll give this to a random subscriber anyway for free. So we'll do a live draw and we'll give it to someone random if no one guesses the color. If someone does guess the color, it's the first person to do it. I'll announce it towards the end of July. If you stick around somewhere to the end of this video, I'll give you a small hint as to what that color might be. Good luck, everyone. And don't just say yellow or whatever your guess might be. I want the exact name of the color. Now here I'm just soldering that Dimarzio onto an existing Fender pot that I had lying on my parts bin, so I didn't really have to do much wiring. If you stick around, watch my later videos, I'm going to do a quick wiring video coming very soon for single pickup guitars, because I've had a lot of people ask. I'm not the king of soldering, but I know what I'm doing anyway, so it might help someone. Okay, so this isn't looking too bad. This is the next day. I did come in last night or late evening and put another couple coats on this. Honestly, I don't think it was worth all that effort. I think if I wanted to do this in the future, I would just use a wood stain or wood dye. I am glad I taped those frets up though. Look at the state of the masking tape and also the nut. I don't think the camera's picking it up, but that's more of a greeny color than brown. Yeah, I think it's definitely darkened the fretboard down, but was it worth it? Probably not. Obviously it's also discolored those dot inlays. If you are going to try this for yourself, I highly recommend that you tape the back of your neck way better than I did, because there's a couple of stains on there that I just haven't been able to get out. No big deal, but if this was an expensive guitar, I definitely would have been more annoyed. So thankfully in this neck, there wasn't that many high frets. There was just a couple of them which I was able to sort out by actually crowning them. If you want to see more about that, check out my previous video where I set up a guitar and go into a bit more depth on how to do that. Because of the stains I got in the back of the neck, I decided to try to sand them out and actually sand the neck down to a satin finish. I'm really happy I did that. That has made a huge difference to the guitar, so it's a worthy mod. These standard Squier tuners are terrible, so I would highly recommend taking them off and replacing them with something better. This is my opportunity to try out those Ernie Ball Wonder Wipes to see how they are. And they're nice for convenience, but I think I'll just stick to using a regular mineral oil or lemon oil on my fretboards rather than the wipe. Obviously putting this on makes the fretboard really pop, and at this point I'm really happy with the finish of it. Here's a side-by-side comparison with my Fender Tom DeLonge neck. Now I've wiped both of them with this to make them both wet, just for fairness. And obviously I take the excess off after these shots. I have this Mexican Fender bridge off a previous project that's just been lying for a while, so I'm going to swap out this bridge for this one. It's not a massive upgrade, I just prefer these vintage style saddles over the chunkier ones. So yeah, it's just 6 screws and the springs in the back. I'll just swap them across. And please finish tightening these screws with a screwdriver. Don't torque them down with any kind of impact driver. At this point, I am really happy with how this guitar is looking. And I think that neck might have been worth all the effort. I'm just curious, would you get the same results using a wood dye? I had these Gotoh tuners lying around. They were actually for a Harley Benton project, and I forgot to buy tuners for this one, so I'm stealing them off the Harley Benton, but I'll buy something else for the Harley. Since I've got 10s on the white Fender, it's only fair I put the 10s on this one. So trying out these EVH ones, which having played them now, I actually prefer over the Ernie Ball. If you're new to guitar, don't copy me and flail your fingers around. It's a bad habit to get into, but I can't help it. It works for me. I don't really care. I'll work on it eventually, but yeah, don't forget, if you want to win this guitar for free, all you have to do is guess what color I'm going to paint my Tom DeLonge Strat. Now you need to guess the exact color. So, for example, we know it's not going to be graffiti yellow, but say it was graffiti yellow. Simply saying yellow isn't enough. You need to say graffiti yellow. Obviously it's not. You need to tell me what the exact color name we're going to paint that is. If you do, and you're the first to do it in the comments under this video, you'll win this guitar for free. And like I said before, if nobody guesses the correct color, which there is a possibility for, I will give this to a random subscriber for free. So make sure you subscribe so that you can have a chance maybe to win that if nobody gets the color correct. And I promised I would give you a hint as to what that color is. So here it is. It's an automotive color. That's your hint. So here it is. I suppose you'll just have to take my word for it that it does play better than that Fender. Now this video we kind of got sidetracked a bit with dyeing this fretboard. So maybe I missed the whole point of exactly how you make a Squier play better than a Fender. You can do this for cheap. Obviously I put a Dimarzio in this, which is a pretty good pickup. I found that for cheap. That's £38. That's not an expensive pickup, especially for what that is. So yeah, deals out there do exist. The bridge, I was lucky enough to have a spare one, but realistically, if you're wanting to upgrade it to a Fender bridge and just a Mexican Fender bridge, these things, shouldn't cost you much more than £15–20. The tuners were the most expensive part, so they were £65 for a set of Gotoh tuners. They're brand spanking new, and I actually had them for a different project. Didn't expect to put them in this one, but I had them lying and haven't used them, so I thought, yeah, they'll suit this guitar well, and I'll buy another set for that project. Obviously, the blue Strat that we're giving away, it has those cheap Geiger, the Chinese ones on it. They're still pretty good, so if you've only got a few quid to spend, stick a set of those on it. They're still going to be better than the original Squier ones. We didn't change the nut. I actually think the nut in this is pretty good. It's a synthetic bone nut, so it's not real bone, but it's cut really nicely and it plays really good. No point to change it in this guitar. If it's not broke, don't fix it. No point messing around with that when it's actually a pretty nice playing nut. And then obviously the main thing is going to be setting your action, setting the truss rod, making sure your neck is straight, and just having it play smooth as butter. Those frets, crowning any that need to be crowned, and polishing them all up will do a world of difference. This is a nice edge of a fretboard. I think just given the age of it, it's obviously worn down quite a lot. If your frets are sharp, you can give the fretboard a bit of a sand. You can check out the previous video I did with the setup of that blue guitar that we're giving away, and it goes into a bit more detail on how you can set up a guitar. Generally, all you'll need to do is a pretty good setup, and you'll have this playing better than a standard or equal to a standard Mexican Fender. Now, I'm not telling you not to buy a Fender. Obviously, I buy a lot of Fenders. All I'm saying is, if you've only got £100 or you've got a cheap Squier, don't just write it off. You can still do things to make it look really, really good and play really, really good. Don't be off-put by what's on your headstock. A setup will go a long way to making a guitar look, play, and feel much nicer. But doing some simple mods like dyeing that fretboard, cleaning up all those frets, and putting this pickguard on, I think has transformed this guitar. I don't think there's too many people who would be disappointed with a Squier like this, especially considering you can pick these guitars up for £100. And all the mods I've done here would fall under that £100 mark as well. So £200 to have a guitar like this, I think is a pretty good bargain. Which one sounds better, the red guitar or the white guitar?
The white guitar.
The white one? Why?
Because it sounds like ding, ding, ding.
It sounds like ding, ding, ding? Mm-hmm.
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it. As the 4-year-old says, no, you can't make a Squier better than a Fender.